Nightshade, Alex Rider 12 by Anthony Horowitz. The assassination of Lord Clifford. The morning sun glinted off the Marina de Gloria in Rio de Janeiro, casting a golden shimmer over the water as a crowd gathered to witness the unveiling of a new war memorial. Amidst the buzz of anticipation, two teenagers, seemingly on a school trip, blended seamlessly with the throng. Amy, a girl with keen, observant eyes, leaned close to Jasmine, her daring and resourceful companion, whispering a quick update. "They've just arrived. I spotted Lord Clifford. He's near the front by the statue," Amy murmured, her gaze locking onto a distinguished middle-aged man with a military bearing and ingrained temples, who stood proudly by a gleaming new statue. Jasmine nodded, her fingers tightening around a small nondescript digital camera. "Do we proceed as planned?" "Exactly as planned. Remember, as soon as it's done, head straight to the Vespa." "I'll meet you there," Amy replied, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. As the officials began their speeches, Lord Clifford stepped forward to address the crowd, his voice booming through the speakers with talk of peace and heroism. Jasmine maneuvered through the crowd, her camera poised, blending in as just another teenager capturing the moment. Her finger hovered over a small concealed button on the camera, designed not for photography but for something far more sinister. Amy watched from a distance, her eyes darting for any sign of suspicion among the crowd. Her hand rested on a tiny device in her pocket, ready to unleash a smoke bomb as a diversion. At the climax of Lord Clifford's speech, as the applause swelled, Jasmine pressed the button. A sharp pop rang out, startling the crowd as Lord Clifford staggered backward, shock etching his face before he crumpled to the ground. Instant chaos erupted. Screams pierced the air and people scattered in a frenzy. Amy pressed her device and instantly, a thick cloud of smoke billowed, obscuring the scene and adding to the pandemonium. "Move! Move!" An urgent voice cut through the confusion. It belonged to Crawley, a senior MI6 agent who had been monitoring the event discreetly. He snapped orders into his radio: "Seal off the area. Don't let them escape." Amidst the confusion, Amy and Jasmine sprinted towards a fence where a scooter was hidden. They jumped on, Amy's hands gripping the handlebars with practiced ease. As they sped away, Jasmine glanced back to see agents weaving through the disoriented crowd. They reached a pre-cut hole in the fence, slipping through just as a helicopter roared overhead, sweeping the area with a bright spotlight. The girls ducked under the cover of trees as the helicopter passed, then continued their escape. Breathing heavily, they abandoned the scooter in a dense thicket and dashed through a narrow alley, their hearts pounding with both fear and exhilaration. Finally, they emerged onto a quieter street where a nondescript car awaited. As they drove away, Amy exhaled a long breath, the tension beginning to ebb. "Phase 1 complete," she said, her voice steady, but her mind racing with the weight of what they'd just done. Jasmine nodded, her face paled but her eyes burning with resolve. "Now we find out if it was all worth it." Their mission was far from over, but for now, they had succeeded in their part of a larger, darker scheme. The assassination of Lord Clifford was just the beginning, setting the stage for a series of events that would soon draw in an Alex Rider and intertwine their fates in the shadowy world of espionage. The Lost Son and the Spy. Freddie sat in the dimly lit cell, his eyes briefly acknowledging the small window before dismissing it as inconsequential. The sound of footsteps approached, signaling the arrival of a new prisoner. It was supposed to be Julia's grief, but Freddie knew better. It was Ryder, masquerading as someone else. "Looks like we're cellmates," Ryder remarked, breaking the silence. "I don't do partners," Freddie responded, his tone icy. Ryder settled on the opposite bunk. "I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to get us out." "Why?" Freddie asked, his curiosity betraying him. We have a common enemy, Nightshade, Ryder explained. And why should I cross Nightshade? Freddy challenged. Ryder's voice dropped to a whisper. They took something precious from both of us. Our freedom, our families, our lives. Freddy turned his back, a storm of emotions brewing within. They made me who I am, he said, almost to himself. And who is that? Ryder probed. Freddy faced him, a flicker of his former self shining through. Someone who craves vengeance. Ryder nodded, recognizing the shared pain. Then let's escape and take them down. Freddy weighed Ryder's proposal, his tough exterior wavering. After a moment's hesitation, he agreed. All right, Ryder, we have a deal, but betray me, and... You have my word, Ryder interjected. We're in this together. With their pact sealed, they began plotting their escape. Nightshade, the clandestine organization that had robbed them of so much, would soon face two formidable adversaries. The lost son and the spy, bound by a mutual desire for retribution, were ready to reclaim their stolen futures. Infiltrating the maximum security prison. Alex Ryder, in the guise of Julius Grief, was escorted through the maximum security prison. The van's journey ended, and he was led down a path towards the governor's house. No funny business, Grief, a guard warned as they entered. In his cell, Alex encountered Freddy, a boy with a complicated past. You're the new Julius, huh? Freddy inquired. Alex, needing an ally, confided. I have an escape plan, but it requires your help. Why should I trust you? Freddy challenged. We both want freedom, Alex asserted. I've discovered something that could aid us. Their skepticism gave way to a cautious partnership as they exchanged stories and aspirations. When the day of their planned escape arrived, they moved stealthily to the villa's roof. Are you ready for what comes next? Alex asked. Freddy nodded resolutely. Let's do this. With the alarm sounding behind them, they prepared to navigate the challenges that awaited beyond the prison walls. Their escape, though imminent, was left to unfold in the shadows of the reader's imagination. The monkey and the key. Alex's heart raced as he entered the dimly lit room where Freddy sat, his eyes empty, staring at the wall. Alex held a familiar object from Freddy's past, a silent ally in what was about to unfold. Hey, Freddy, Alex said softly, taking a seat across from him. I brought something that belongs to you. He placed the object on the table between them. Freddy's gaze shifted to it, and for a moment, a spark of recognition flashed in his eyes. This, he whispered, his voice hoarse. That's right, Alex encouraged, a glimmer of hope rising within him. It's been waiting for you. Freddy reached out tentatively, his fingers brushing against it. I remember, he murmured, a tear sliding down his cheek. Alex watched as Freddy held the object, memories flooding back. It was working. The object was the key to unlocking Freddy's past. But time was running out. Alex's hand slipped into his pocket, feeling the cold metal of the key. Freddy, listen to me, he said urgently. We don't have much time. This key, he continued, revealing it, it's our way out. Freddy looked up, his expression a mix of confusion and understanding. Out? But how? It's part of a bigger picture, Alex explained quickly. A situation that we've been maneuvering. We're going to see it through, together. Freddy nodded, the haze in his mind clearing. Okay, Alex. I trust you. They stood, and Alex led the way to the door, slipping the key into the lock. It turned with a satisfying click, and the door swung open, revealing the path to freedom. As they made their escape, Alex couldn't help but feel that the object, more than just a belonging, had been the catalyst for Freddy's return to himself, and for their great escape. The Great Escape. The door opened silently and they slipped through, the stuffed monkey now a forgotten relic as they focused on their immediate task. Alarms wailed behind them, but they sprinted towards the safety of the hills, their freedom the only thing that mattered. As they reached the hills, they allowed themselves a moment to breathe, acknowledging their success with a shared smile. The sound of an engine approached, and a van skidded to a halt. "You must be Freddy," a man with a Spanish accent said. "We're here for you." Freddy confirmed, ensuring Alex was included. "He's with me. We had a deal." The men agreed, and they climbed into the van, the doors closing behind them. As they drove away, they were together, and that was all that mattered. Unmasking the mole. The chill of the concrete floor seeped through Alex's clothes as he lay in the dimly lit cell, his mind racing. The drug coursing through his veins made every thought sluggish, every movement a monumental effort. He could hear the distant echo of footsteps, the jangle of keys, the whispers of the prison guards as they patrolled the corridors outside. He knew he had to act fast. London was in danger, and he was the only one who could stop Nightshade's sinister plan. With a groan, Alex pushed himself to a sitting position, his head spinning. Despite the drug's haze, memories of the plan he had so carefully crafted with Freddy surfaced. It all hinged on trust, on the bond they had formed. But now, with his identity exposed, everything was at risk. "Alex?" Freddy's voice came through the bars, low and urgent. "Are you all right?" "I've been better." Alex managed to reply, his voice barely above a whisper. "They drugged me, Freddy. They know who I am." Freddy's face appeared between the bars, his eyes wide with concern. "We need to get out of here now. Remember what we planned." Alex nodded, trying to clear his head. "We need to move before they come for us." Together they enacted their escape, each step a battle against the drug's effects. Alex's training kicked in, his body moving on autopilot as they navigated the prison's passages. They avoided the rooftop, taking a more discreet route this time. As they prepared to make their way down the side of the building, Alex felt the familiar weight of his phone in his pocket. It was a stroke of luck that the guards had missed it during their hasty search. It vibrated with a message from Tom, his friend, not Jack, his guardian, a choice he had made to throw Nightshade off his trail. The message was simple: "Dark light, the shard." "That's it," Alex said, a spark of hope igniting within him. "Tom's figured it out. The attack is at the shard." Freddy looked at him, his brow furrowed with doubt. "But how do we stop it? We're fugitives, Alex. The whole city thinks you're Julius Grief." Alex met his gaze, seeing the hesitation there. "We prove them wrong. We save London, just like we always do." The descent was treacherous, but they made it to the ground, blending into the shadows of the night. Alex changed his appearance, donning a hoodie to hide his distinctive features, and together they made their way to the heart of the city. The shard loomed above them, a beacon in the darkness. Alex's mind was clear now, the drug's influence waning. He knew what he had to do. With Freddy now a reluctant ally at his side, he raced against time, dodging surveillance cameras, evading capture, all while the clock ticked down to disaster. In the end, it was Alex's cunning that saved the day. He used Nightshade's own technology against them, turning their sophisticated surveillance into a tool for his own purposes. He exposed the mole within My-6, cleared his name, and with a daring feat, prevented the missile attack that would have devastated London. As the sun rose over the city, casting a golden glow over the Thames, Alex Rider stood tall, a young spy no longer reluctant, but resolute. He had faced his greatest challenge and emerged victorious, the true identity of Julius Grief unmasked, and the threat of Nightshade extinguished. For now, the race to London. Alex's heart pounded as he stood on the crowded platform of Brighton Station, the ticking of the station clock echoing in his ears. Disguised as Julius Grief, he was a fugitive in plain sight. The police presence was overwhelming, their high-visibility jackets a stark contrast to the sea of commuters. He had the hoodie he'd stolen and the relentless drive to stop Nightshade. The police were scanning the crowd, and it was only a matter of time before they spotted him. He needed to get to London, to St. Paul's Cathedral, before Nightshade could execute their plan. Alex seized a moment of distraction, slipping through the archway as the police were momentarily occupied. Inside the station, he faced the ticket barriers. With no ticket, he was trapped. But Alex Ryder was nothing if not resourceful. Spotting a staircase leading to a staff office, he made his way up, unnoticed. From there, he dropped down onto a platform just as the train's doors were closing. He was on his way to London. The train jolted to a start, and Alex leaned against the door, catching his breath. He was tired, nauseous, and running on pure adrenaline. The train rattled on, each mile bringing him closer to the city and the impending danger. Finally, the train pulled into London. Alex stepped out into the bustling city. It was there, in the heart of the city, that everything would come to a head. Alex had to save London. He set off through the streets, his focus sharp. This was the race to London, and Alex Ryder was in it to win. The final confrontation. The ornamental gallery of St. Paul's Cathedral was silent, save for the soft hum of London's heartbeat below. Alex Ryder, now himself and not Julius Grief, stood face to face with Freddie, the boy who had been lost and now found. "Think about what you're doing," Alex urged, his voice steady. "This isn't you." Freddie's hand wavered on the missile's trigger. "What choice do I have?" he whispered. "You can choose to be Freddie Gray," Alex insisted, taking a step forward. Earlier that day, Alex had pocketed the portable RF inhibitor from the Mi-6 gadget lab, knowing it might be his only chance to disrupt Nightshade's control. Now he swiftly pulled it out and activated it, cutting off Freddie's communication with Nightshade. Freddie's cry of despair echoed in the gallery as Alex grabbed the missile. He had come prepared, wearing a parachute harness under his jacket for an emergency escape. Without hesitation, he clipped the missile to his harness and leapt through the open doorway. The cold air rushed past as Alex descended, the cathedral receding into the distance. He waited until the last second to deploy his parachute, the canopy unfurling above him. Alex landed safely, the missile inert beside him. He spared a glance back at the cathedral, hoping Freddie would make the right choice. For now, London was safe, and Alex Ryder had thwarted another attempt to manipulate the innocent.